I used to feel guilty about it. Like I see so many real estate investors say, well, in 2008, I lost everything and I came back from it. I didn't lose everything in 2008. Actually, 2008, in my situation for my business, it was a blessing because before 2008, I'd walk into a room with other investors and everybody was always so over leveraged, in my opinion, back then. And everybody was telling my brother and I that, we weren't growing fast enough because we weren't leveraging enough. And it just didn't make sense to me. I don't have a problem with leveraging. I have a problem with over leveraging. And
welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Investor Fuel podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kesil, and today I'm joined by someone I've been looking forward to chatting with. We have Daniel Borrero, who's been making serious moves in the real estate investing space. So really glad to have you here with us, Daniel. I think our listeners are really going to take something away from how you're approaching the investing business. So yeah, let's dive in.
yes, thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. And I've been looking forward to this interview.
Absolutely. So first off, for people who may not be familiar with you and your world yet, can you give us the short version? What is your main focus these days?
So the focus constantly is changing, right? Because depending on the market conditions, right now it's a long-term holds. I'm not looking to do the fix and flips because the numbers truly don't make sense. But I've been pretty much in every aspect of this business because, I've been in the business since 1989. And it kind of sounds funny when I say 1989. It's like the 19th century, So it's like, having said that, but yeah, my focus right now is literally on long-term hold to making sure the numbers make sense.
Amazing. And what markets are you operating in?
Currently, we buy in New York City, and within New York City, there's 5 boroughs, right? So we are concentrating in Brooklyn, New York, primarily Park Slope, Fort Greene. And then we do buy on Staten Island occasionally, if the numbers make sense. And we do concentrate in northern New Jersey as well as in central Florida.
Amazing. So how did you get started in this business? Like, what's your story?
So when I graduated from college, well, let me go back a little further. I always knew I was very fortunate in life in the sense that I knew I wanted to be self-employed. And in essence, I just didn't know what that self-employment was going to look like, if that makes sense. I always knew I wanted to be wealthy, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. And I thank God every day I actually wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, because I think that gave me the desire, the fire in my stomach to move ahead. So when I graduated from school, I worked crazy overtime to generate enough money to open up my first business, in addition to an $11,000 loan from my dad.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
I opened up my first business in 1985, which was a video store rental, and I knew absolutely nothing about videos. But I knew it was something that I could make money with. It was a necessity in that particular neighborhood. And 4 years later, I bought my first building, literally a half a block up. And then from there, it just grew. And by the way, I still own that property. It's a 2-family pre-war construction building. I paid $72,000 for it, and today it's worth about $2.5 million. So, and then the thing was, growing up in the neighborhood, I noticed that all the storekeepers eventually would buy the buildings they were in. They were paying rent in. And then they would eventually buy the building across the street or down the corner or next door. And then I noticed that when they retired, they were retiring really well. And I thank God every day as a kid, I was able to pick that up. So in college, I realized I wanted to be a real estate investor. I just didn't know what it entailed, because in college, what did they teach us? They were teaching us, I didn't realize this until the end of my sophomore year, was to go work for somebody like me, not for me to be me. But, I was 2 years, at the end of 2 years, I was like, I've already put 2 years in, let me finish. So what I did was I essentially opened up that video store. It was called Mr. D Video. And I was there actually 23 years. And the store evolved from video rentals to beeper service to cell phone service. And during those years, I just kept buying more property. And the goal was to buy anything that I could afford to buy within walking distance of that store. I didn't want to spend time in a car. We didn't have cell phones back then, so I couldn't conduct any business while I was traveling from building to building. Essentially, that's how we started.
Amazing. Yeah, that's such a fascinating story. And yeah, I'd be curious to hear how you went from that starting point to so much expansion. Like, what has been the key to achieving the success that you have?
So I always tell people one of the key things is who your partners are. You don't have to like each other as much as you have to trust each other and respect each other's integrity, right? And that goes for marriage as well. I tell people, I dated my wife for 7 years before we got married. And when people ask me why so long, I says I needed to make sure she understood that living with me was going to be difficult. I remember telling my wife before we got married, about a year before we got married, was, if you want a husband that's going to be home with you watching the 11 o'clock news in bed, don't marry me. If you want a husband that's going to be home every night having dinner with you at 6 o'clock, don't marry me. Because while I'm here with you, I can't be out in the street making money, right? I can't be having meetings. I can't be walking properties. I can't be running my business. I can't be overseeing my employees. And then when I am home, I need to be at my desk doing all the paperwork and organizing and coming up with my plans to keep everything organized. So, and to this day, I've been married. We're going on 38 years. So I say one of my key successes is my wife. Without my wife and I, we were pulling the wagon together, because if you have one horse that goes to the left and another horse goes to the right, the wagon goes nowhere. So, we had those deep conversations prior to getting married, and hence it's worked out very well because we were very clear with each other and what our expectations were in life.
That's really beautiful. I love that answer. Amazing. Yeah. So in terms of your business growth and just holding this big container, what has been the key to keeping that machine running smoothly and going and growing?
Well, there's so many different keys to it. That's a good question. So let's start from the beginning. Essentially, when I got to about 10 buildings in Brooklyn, primarily in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, I realized I wasn't scaling fast enough. And one of the reasons I wasn't scaling fast enough was because the acquisition cost in New York City was tremendously high. And I had to come up back then, because of the economy, I had to come up with at least 30% down. I was going with no income check loans, no income verification loans. Today, they're called DSCR loans. So, the interest rates, my first building, my interest rate was 17.9 with 6 points from Greenpoint Savings Bank. I mean, that's how today's terms, it's really crazy. But the numbers still made sense. So the reality is that if we don't learn how to pivot, if we don't learn how to adjust, if we don't learn, how to change our short-term goals to achieve our long-term goals.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
We're not going to get anywhere, right? One of the things I realized when I turned 30 was I was really depressed with myself because I hadn't achieved my goals. I wrote a letter to myself when I was 18. And I read that letter and I was like, oh my God, I'm nowhere near this, right? Well, it took me about 6 months to realize, one, the goal was unrealistic. Two, the goal didn't have a plan. So it took me about 6 more months to develop a plan, a 10-year plan with goals within that plan. So I had a 1-year goal, 3-year goal, 5-year goal, 7-year goal, then the 10-year goal. But I had to understand that there's things in the economy and things in my life that I can't control. I can't control if my parents get sick or if I get sick, or I can't control the economy. So the plan's got to be like a palm tree in the wind where, it bends with the wind, it doesn't break, so that you could adjust and still keep that 10-year plan and that 10-year goal in effect. What's helped me succeed, besides, of course, picking the right partners, not only with my business partner, but my life partner, is learning to develop plans, goals, having a goal and developing the plan, and then making sure how to execute that plan, but always understanding that the execution may have to change according to things that we can't control.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. Yeah, that leads into what I was going to ask you next. Yeah, every operator I know has a moment where things get real. Maybe you had a deal go sideways or you had to make a fast pivot. And I would love to hear a moment like that for you, if you don't mind sharing.
Look, I gotta say, and I used to feel guilty about it. Like I see here so many real estate investors say, well, in 2008, I lost everything and I came back from it. I didn't lose everything in 2008. Actually, 2008, in my situation, for my business, it was a blessing, because before 2008, I'd walk into a room with other investors and everybody was always so over leveraged, in my opinion, back then. And everybody was telling my brother and I that, we weren't growing fast enough because we weren't leveraging enough. And it just didn't make sense to me. I don't have a problem with leveraging. I have a problem with over leveraging. And those are the guys that went under. Whereas 2009, 2010 to 2017 is when my business was booming, because we didn't go through that hardship. We didn't have any more. Our personal mortgages were paid off. Our personal cars were paid off. We had no credit card debt because we saw this coming. Right? It all made sense to us. So when they were just trying to come back from their glory days, we were actually developing the days that we're currently living in right now. But the biggest challenge, that aha moment for me, was probably when I first became a landlord in New York City, and I got smacked up by the tenants, 2 tenants in particular, that educated me like, hey, yeah, this may be your property on paper, but I'm the tenant and we're not going anywhere. We're not going to do anything you tell us to do. So, that was an extremely challenging moment in my career, because I had to humbleize myself, and then understand, hold on a second, there's laws involved here. It's not like I thought, and I need to familiarize myself with those laws, and then of course adhere to those laws, and then do things accordingly. So my biggest challenge was, one, that aha moment for me was, my tenants educated me, and then as a result of that, developing a plan and a process and procedure on how to vet prospective tenants so I don't have those problems again. And by the way, that's an ongoing learning process, because the environment is constantly changing with those laws. So, before I go and invest anywhere, first thing I do is I sit down with a housing attorney, a tenant landlord housing attorney in that area. I'll pay that $350 consultation fee. I'll go into the county website and the state website for the Department of HUD and familiarize myself with the tenant landlord laws. And then whatever questions I have, I'll have them ready for that attorney when I sit down with him. And then that'll determine if I'm going to buy in that area.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, that's super valuable advice to do your due diligence.
Yes. Yes.
Amazing. So let me ask you this. What are you most focused on solving or scaling next?
What I'm looking on scaling right now is on maximizing my potential profits in all of my rental properties currently. So in this business, right, we're either fixing and flipping or we're either doing long-term holds. There's times when the fixing and flipping is so profitable, I don't have time to do the long-term holds. But I do know when I'm not doing the fixing and flipping, I'm going to literally bring all of my existing properties to the best shape that I possibly can and run most efficiently as possible. So that when my concentration goes back to my fix and flips, that side of the business is running like a fine oil machine. And that includes developing the right team and understanding that team members change, no matter how good that team may be, because life changes, right? Contractors, for instance, the longest good contract I've ever had was 7 years. A good contractor lasts between 5 and 7 years. And not because anything bad happens, but sometimes they think you can't live without them, right? So they got to be changed out. Sometimes they may get sick. Sometimes they may go through personal things in their life that affects their work. Well, it's the same thing with any member of your team. So just like a professional baseball team, even when they win a World Series, may change out some of the players the following season. You have to understand that too, that that's going to happen in your team.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you find your team members or like choose who is the right fit?
So we've developed, as a result of growing up with my dad doing, his own work. My father had a bodega, and everything he did in the bodega was done by him, right? Eventually he bought a house and everything was done by him. So I had knowledge of how to use tools. So I could look at a carpenter, I could look at a painter, I could look at a plumber and know if they know what they're doing. Just because they have really nice tools doesn't mean they know what they're doing, right? Just because they charge you more money doesn't mean they know what they're doing. So it's all about knowing the process on how to get things done. You don't have to actually be the professional at it. One of the places I go to directly to find some of my team members, for instance, let's say I need a plumber and I'm in a new area. I'm not going to go to Home Depot and wait for a plumbing truck. I'm going to go to the plumbing supply house, and I'm going to be there real early in the morning. And I'm going to watch who's there, who's moving quickly in and out, how are they dressed, when they open up their vans and their trucks, how organized they are, if they're cursing, if they're smoking, right? So I'm looking for personality traits, and then I'll approach them. But why am I going to the plumbing supply house? Because that's where you're going to find the plumbers who are really looking to work at 7 a.m. so they could be at the job by 8. I don't want a plumber that's going to Home Depot. I want a plumber who's going to the real plumbing supply house and picking up quality material. Same thing with electricals. Same thing with painters. I'm going to go to Sherman-Williams early in the morning or Benjamin Moore. I'm going to watch and I'm going to listen. And that's one of the things that I use to determine who I'm going to speak to and who I'm going to interview. Same thing with realtors, right? I'm going to look up a realtor's history because if a realtor is just buying single family homes, that means they're end user realtors, which are great. But I don't need an end user realtor. I need a realtor that understands the market for multifamily, right? Or whatever that commercial property that I may be looking for, or the condos I may be looking for. I want a realtor that understands that market like the back of their hand.
Yeah, that's so valuable. I think that a lot of people can really take something away from, just being so conscious and aware of how people behave and their actions and how they show up versus what they say they do.
Precisely. Personality matters, right? I want to make sure that whoever we bring into the team is not going to have a conflicting personality trait, right? So it's not only the skill set, it's also the personality trait.
Yeah, so important. Now, I know a lot of people listening to this are either new in the industry or looking to level up, and I think they'd benefit from hearing this. When it comes to growing your network and building relationships, what has been the most supportive thing for you?
Integrity. You know, you don't have to be okay. So building your network is essential. Putting yourself in rooms that are bigger than the room that you're currently in. So if I'm making $100,000, I don't want to be in a room with other people making 100,000. I want to be in a room with people making 500,000. Right? I want to know how, because there I'm going to learn their personality traits. I'm going to learn how they think differently. I'm going to learn the conversations that they have that are different than the conversations I used to have in that $100,000 room. Now, the thing is, it is very uncomfortable going into a room where you're probably like economically the lowest person there, but you got to get over that uncomfort. And if you're uncomfortable, that's actually a good thing, because when you're comfortable, then you're not growing. But the biggest thing is integrity. That's what I'm looking for in people's before I do business with them. There's times I've walked away with deals that I could have possibly made a lot of money with, but I didn't trust the person on the other side of that table. Even they'll say, well, we have contracts. Contracts only as good as it's like a marriage. It's only as good until someone's not happy, right? And then you got to go through that divorce process, and it costs a lot of money and a lot of time. And I'd rather spend that money and that time down avenues that are more profitable. Pick the people you choose to do business with wisely.
Relationships are everything in this space.
Yes.
All right. So before we wrap up, if someone wants to reach out, connect with you, maybe collaborate, or just learn more about what you're doing, what is the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah. So you could reach me at Daniel Borrero, jr@gmail.com, which is my name below. Daniel Borrero Jr. @gmail.com, or you could feel free to give me a call. Believe it or not, I do pick up my phone.
Perfect. Well, listen, I really appreciate your time, your story, and your perspective. We need more people that are doing things outside of the box. So thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you for the invite. I greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. And for those of you that are tuning in, if you got value from this, make sure you're subscribed. We've got more conversations coming with operators just like Daniel, who are out here building real businesses. And we'll see you all on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.